I am on a Fulbright scholarship. I came here because I'm a theater artist, a playwright, and a performer, and also a director, and an educator. I teach. Beautiful. But when I look for apartments, they never take me to these beautiful buildings. I decided to go for a teaching Fulbright, where I would teach at Lucian Blaga University here in Sibiu, where I would teach site-specific theater and mask, whatever. I didn't know when I got off the plane what the students needed. But I like to teach because every day I'm inspired by the students and I can experiment with them. And that's what we did. We actually came here one day. I found out about this synagogue and I came in with the students and we spent a few hours here. There's another key also, even bigger and more imposing.
And you are the only one entrusted with it.
That's right, exactly.
So this is a new key. This is a new key.
Yes, this is the synagogue, the actual synagogue key. And it's a key that can lock it from the inside also. Just in case they had to lock themselves in and keep people out, you know? People who might want to do harm. Here, let's. I asked them to imagine what it was like 100 years ago, and to imagine themselves in the pews, in the seats. What were they talking about? What were their dreams and hopes and struggles and heartaches when they walked in? And what they discovered in imagining this is that the same struggles and dreams and hopes and heartaches that people come in here with, they go into their churches with. It's not really different. That's not really different, you know? I chose Romania for my Fulbright because I have grandparents who were Romanian Jews from Bessarabia, Jedinets, which I guess was the Republic of Moldova, is the Republic of Moldova. But I never knew them. So I wanted to come here and see what their life might have been like, to try to uncover stories of the Jews that were remaining, and also to derive stories from the relics, from the places that were left behind, like this synagogue, which is 123 years old. It was built in 1899. And a community of upwards of 2,000 plus Jews called this their place of connection, where they found purpose and found each other. And so when I found this synagogue, I live right up the street, I thought, I'm going to write a play that can take place all around the audience, in the balconies, in the aisles. So the audience might have to turn their head. Sometimes they'll just hear a character and see a character here and hear a character here, where the audience isn't dictating the show, but the place is the main character, the place.
You had been gone for hours. Why do you run from your family? They needed you today, Baruch. How can you be so selfish? It's a shame, Baruch. It's a shame.
Yes. What do you know?
He's a dentist.
I know, but I should go to him so much.
Yes, Baruch, yes.
Baruch, you're my husband.
You know, I love that scene because it's so simple. It's just about this young man who married sooner than he should have. He's probably 20 years old. And his wife has a baby in the first year. She's like 19. They got married very young, you know. And they did back then, always. And they both find out that they're both scared. And then they feel stronger because they decide that instead of hiding from each other, hiding their fears, they've both revealed their fears. And so that's really what I wanted the play to be about, just the simple human struggles and dreams and love.
She stopped crying within a minute. No, Baruch, it's not good. It means I'm not a suitable mother. But that's how I feel. I wasn't ready to be a mother. I'm not ready. When I hold Ivana into my arms, she can feel my fear. She knows. And you're hardly home anymore, so it's just me and the chimney man.
Sofia, don't say that.
I'm sorry. But it's easier for you, Baruch. You can run away, and you do. Well, sometimes I want to just get out of the house and run away and go pray 3 times a day or talk to God quietly. I'm trapped there alone, trying to hold myself together, trying to understand how I went from being the happiest bride in the world to being the most nervous and horrible mother in the world.
Wait, Sofia.
What?
I want with you. Home, I mean, get out. What?
Balcony, you know, is it's so interesting to me to put the women up here where the men cannot see them because they're supposed to be a distraction. I don't think that was an uncommon practice to separate women and men in many religions in the church. But in Judaism still today, in Orthodox Judaism, you have the women, a partition, women on one side, men on the other. And a man is not supposed to hear a woman sing. Her husband can hear her sing, her own family, but not publicly. And so I thought, I'll have them sing in the synagogue, in the balcony. But it's respectful and it's beautiful. I tie the idea of them breaking a rule to the great tradition of the matriarchs, the women in the Bible who broke rules. You know, it's always the woman who's doing something to advance the community, to do something good, so that the right person gets promoted. The right thing should happen, so she does something on the side. There's a line in the play of a character that where she's quoting her grandmother, and she goes, "It takes great wisdom to break a rule at just the right moment, for just the right reason." You know.
But you also dared to bring the women down here.
Yes.
How did you?
Yes.
Dare
Yes.
that?
Yes. Well, I knew the scene had to be a scene of emancipation and liberation, and I knew I had to have it down here. So I thought, they'll come down here to help one of their own.
Since both you can't find the matches.
No, she's right. Maybe he's the one, Nina.
No, it's not like
One woman who can't find a husband, which was a big deal back then. And I did a lot of research about all the reasons why a young woman, you know, she's a perfectly lovely young woman, 24 years old, and she can't get matched. And I did some investigating why a perfectly lovely young woman couldn't get matched. And I asked so many different people that I know in the Orthodox community. And the reason that theatrically I could use was that she broke off an engagement at the last minute.
when I was 18, I was engaged to be married. And you? I was engaged to be married, and I can't.
All right. Good.
And no one knows why, and they think no one wants to risk maybe an engagement that had been planned since they were children.
Okay, let's call him Basilico.
You did have a choice. You could, two people could decide they weren't right for each other. But to break off an engagement at the last minute and be mysterious about it, I was told could be a reason why people may not want you to marry their son.
It's been 6 years since then, and she still can't get matched.
No one wants to engage to her because they say she's a fickle.
Or bad luck.
Or crazy.
Yes, both think she's crazy.
It's interesting how that worked out because I had no choice, right? I thought, well, all these scenes have to take place here. So I had to create a dialogue where we would justify. The rabbi says, let's talk in my office. She goes, no, this is the place. God hears us the best, you know. But all these little miracles keep happening. The husband and wife come together. These two reveal their heart. And it all happens here. So it's nice, God, in a way, God watching and supporting that. I decided that if the synagogue is the main character, let's have a little fear of an assault on the synagogue, fear of, so I have a short scene where there's some fear that because they find a broken window in the festival hall. And some think it was just a tree in the night because of a storm. And a couple of the congregation fear that maybe someone threw a rock, that maybe it's the beginning of something worse. But the scene is short, but it's followed by a scene where we find out that one of the members of the synagogue, her mother died because of a Cossack raid on her village in Ukraine in 1918. And so I wanted to educate the audience a little bit as to why there would be such worry over a broken window. But then the rabbi comes back in, he decides the Jews of Sibiu are safe, it was just a storm.
In our synagogue. There was some fear and some worry, but I can tell you with certainty that we are safe. We must keep the Shabbat holy, but we need to swat the glass.
And we move on from there.
Glass can be harmful.
I did not want to make it a play about the Holocaust. I put it in the interwar period, after the First War and before the Holocaust, so that I could focus on how the Jewish community was reclaiming itself, had hopes and dreams of reviving itself. I wanted to capture their lives at that time.
Do you remember your last class of the week?
No.
Mine was Torah study. It was a big classroom, and all the boys had assigned seats.
I knew that the students and the professional actors from Hradu Stanka National Theater would benefit from being given a role of a Jewish person in 1927, and they would investigate that role, the feelings of that person. That's what actors do. They get into the shoes of that person. And by doing that, they're instantly becoming intimate with a character that they never thought they would get close to necessarily, In fact, one student came to me, the student who he plays Yosef, you are familiar with the play. He came up to me, he said, you sent my character to Bucharest with his new wife. I said, yes, I did. He said, I'm worried about him. I said, why? He goes, because what's going to happen to him if he doesn't stay in Sibiu? And he got a little teary-eyed, and so did I. And what a beautiful thing for a non-Jewish student who doesn't come into contact with many Jews to have that feeling of empathy for his character, a Jewish character. That was so gratifying to me. And it's not just about the Jewish community, it's about people like themselves. That's what I wanted, so.
I have to look for Monica.
Okay,
Because I told her something and I want to tell her something else. All right. I'll see you later, Irina. Have a wonderful show. I'm looking for a student. Let's find her. You were so good today. Is it bad to tell you that? I don't know, some actors don't even want to be told anything before a show, but you were really good today. Really so good.
I don't mind.
It's just so beautiful to see all this emotion come, and you let it spill out today, and it's so beautiful. You probably saw the smile on my face out there. So
I felt it.
yeah, good, good. It's gorgeous. Yeah. And the opening scene too. The opening scene. Wow. You guys are just relaxed, and that's great.
There's a lot that I don't know about my grandparents, so I can fill in the blanks the way I want. You do see that in this play. It's true. When I came here, my first week, I started eating the food here because I want to survive. And as I was eating, I was like, this is Jewish food. I said to the waiter, this is Jewish food. And he goes, no, it's Romanian food. I go, and I realized, oh, the Jews, so many Jews in America, so many diaspora that left Eastern Europe brought the food with them, and they just made it kosher. They took out the pork, they didn't mix the milk with the meat, and it's so much of the same food. I was amazed. And there's personality things. There's the way Romanian people communicate. And there's a lot of passion sometimes behind this communication and the use of the hands. And it's a particular kind of cultural layer that Jews brought with them from this part of the world. So I really felt quite connected when I came here. My father always said that his parents, Rose and Benjamin, came from Bessarabia, and he always said Yedinets. I don't know if both of them came from Yedinets, but one of them traveled when he was 17 to America by himself, Benjamin, in 1896, alone. And he established a little jewelry business, like to repair jewelry, just to, you know, I still have the scales and his little tools, you know. And then Rose Rosenberg, maybe from a community nearby him in Bessarabia, went with her cousins to America, and by arrangement of their parents, they got married in America. And she was only 16 when she got on that boat. And I think they were escaping a pogrom that just happened and more discrimination. They go to America, so the parents sent them. So they got married in America, and Rose had dreams, had the dreams of this, you know, American, I don't know, the streets paved with gold, and she wanted Benjamin to provide in ways that he never did. He was just an artist and a simple jeweler, you know. That's all I know.
Did your family still had family in Europe?
Yes, and I don't know who they are. I looked up a roster for Yedinets, and there's many Bronsteins, and there's Rosenbergs, and I don't know which, you know, I don't know which, who they are. My aunt, my dad's sister, used to have the address of where either Benjamin or Rose lived, and no one knows where the address is. You know, when you start to investigate your ancestry, you get this profound feeling of the temporariness of all of us in other people's memory. You realize this is just a moment. If you have their name, if you know that they existed, you can say, may her life or memory be a blessing. May her memory be a blessing, or may his memory be a blessing. That the very fact of their existence, something good about them that you can remember, something good that they left in the world, is a blessing. And that even remembering them brings back to mind the goodness in them, something good. Yeah, that's very important. I think when we lose people, what we are left with is not all the fights or we remember how they changed us. We remember the good things. Not everybody, I know not everybody, but that's the lesson. The lesson is to take what strength they gave you and let that memory be a blessing. But as years go on and you forget your family tree, unless the names might, just like in my family, I know my grandparents, but I don't know anybody further back, unfortunately.
I think maybe that's why you came here.
That's absolutely why. Because this, like the grandmothers, like you said up here, this great sense of, I'm here because of all these people who went through pain and heartache and struggle and dreamt and hoped and fell in love. I'm here because of, you're getting me to cry.
And how's the festival?
It takes a lot of courage to live life. And it took a lot of courageous people for you and I to be standing here right now. And everyone, I love the festival. This is the best theater festival in the world, and no one paid me to say that. It's not just big. It has beautiful dimensions of connectivity, you know, where artists can talk to each other. Artists, not dramaturgs, not just performing artists or visual artists. You know, dramaturgs, technicians, designers, The arts market is so incredible.
Event of hearts and souls. I wish you to have a successful stay in Sibiu and wish to meet you again next year. Thank you.
And everywhere you go, it's positive. It's not competitive. Our artists, fellow troupes want to talk to each other. When is your show? When is my show? And it's a beautiful, beautiful atmosphere here. I love it.
I just met you at the theater.
Nice to see you here.
Good to see you too.
And it was also the story of Jews who left for Israel
Yes.
and also had a connection with Romania. How did you like the play?
I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was a good story. And I did love how the woman in that story, the wife, asked for a divorce. There, another gesture of emancipation, another gesture of liberation. She realized she got along fine without him. The only thing she was hanging on to was the anger. And once she resolved that, she didn't need him any. I thought that was amazing. I don't know if I would have done that. I would have been like, I'll take you back. I'll take you back.
And it's also a Jewish person who goes to America and leaves his family behind.
Yes, yeah. He left his family. That was an interesting thing that you never they didn't really go into that. But I like when some things are left for us to talk about at dinner afterward.